first I would like to say Tashi Derek and good morning. And it's lovely to be back with all of you. I'm hoping sincerely from the depths of my heart that I will be able to stay here. And that is my wish. And so we must work together to make that happen. It doesn't mean that I won't travel, of course. I have to travel, but I would like to reinstate this seat of my throne as my home seat again. And in order to do so, I will need your help and cooperation. Because it takes merit to walk this path together with one's teacher. And merit is something that we must accumulate mindfully, day after day, week after week, and year after year. The need to accumulate merit never ceases. And it is the merit that we accumulate that empowers us to remain firmly on the path, and empowers us as well to practice with more result, with better depth, and with better mindfulness and concentration. You wouldn't think that it would take merit to produce mindfulness and concentration, but in fact, merit and habitual tendency are linked like this, just like two fingers stuck together. And as we develop our habit of practice, merit accumulates, and both result in better, more profound practice. In order for us to be together on this path, we have to learn how to think about the path, how to think about one's guru, and how to think about our relationship. I hesitate to use that word because when I say relationship, people want to go human on me, and or go ordinary on me. And it may not mean that we get to go to Flaps once a week and, play cards together or whatever people do. But Flaps is just up the road. It's a place you eat. And it may not mean anything like that. But the relationship with one's teacher is, if correct, the most profound, most gratifying, most intimate relationship that one can have. Many reasons. One is that the relationship with one's guru is a life after life commitment. If we commit to that relationship and we practice accordingly, we call to the guru, supplicate the guru with all of our hearts, and we maintain that trust that when there's trouble or when there's joy, either one, we can offer that joy to the guru, and we can turn to that guru when there's trouble. And we can rely upon the guru for our strength and know that that is the nature of our inner heart. And when we connect with the guru, it's not a fling. It's not a one lifetime thing. And so although everybody thinks it's amazing, the first time you meet your guru, there's that, it may not come the first time, but maybe the second or third time, who knows. But at some point there's that, what is that? I know this person. And that is because it seems amazing, it seems psychedelic, it seems like, what is this? But in fact, what it is that this relationship is not new. When you take the vows of refuge in bodhicitta, they last lifetime to lifetime. The bodhisattva vow lasts lifetime to lifetime, and they go together. And when we take these vows, we make the commitment with our teacher, because without the teacher, without the guru, there would be no means by which one could accomplish these vows. They would be meaningless words, like, give me 2 tickets to the movie, that kind of thing. It's our relationship, the relationship between the teacher and the student, is cultivated over time. We form habit, we form view, we learn to supplicate, we learn to fit things in together. So we have many relationships in our lives, and they're all at different levels. You know, we have family relationships, we have friend relationships, we have acquaintance relationships. Where does the guru fit in that? Often initially we try to fit the guru into something we already know. And that never works, because it is different from all of those things. We're not married, we're not related, we're not acquaintances. We're spiritual friends, but like I said, we don't play cards. We don't do things together. But surely the teacher is one's spiritual friend, and it makes us redefine what is friend. In this case, a friend is like a light in a room that was formerly dark. In this case, it's like one is being pushed down the stream of life and suddenly there's a raft. That's a friend, boy. That looks real friendly. And then in another case, the house is on fire and suddenly there's the door. And of course here the door is beyond friendly. The door is necessary to sustain life. And everything comes through that door and we exit through that door from the burning house. And so one of the lessons of traveling this road of Dharma with the Guru is to learn to rely, to learn to take refuge, to learn to call out and not tough it out alone when one is in trouble, to learn not to use ordinary rules. Like, for instance, if one's teacher is not here, one has to understand that that's an opportunity, not a loss. If you make it a loss, then it is a loss, and you have exited stage left on the path. But you can always come back. And we learn that when the teacher is gone, that is an opportunity for us to practice and to never be separate from the teacher. Coincidentally, all summer long I hear His Holiness has talked about the value and the purpose and the power of supplicating the Guru. Wow, what a coincidence. Because we forgot. And so that must have been happening a little bit in New York, huh? Maybe we supplicated a little? Must have been going on, because guess what? I came home. And you think, well, I was supplicating to His Holiness. Well, goody for you. I hate to tell you this, but there's no difference. He is my Guru. He is the source of my accomplishment, whatever meager accomplishment that might be. He is Guru Rinpoche for me in this world, in that I was hanging out, doing as best as I could, and He found me and held me up. That's what He does, life after life. Not my ego, of course, but my purpose which is completely aligned with His to benefit sentient beings. My ego, he didn't care, he slaps that around all the time. So, when you supplicate the Guru, it's not a kabuki dance. It is the essence of the path. When we supplicate the Guru, we ask ourselves, well, let's see, it's like making a Christmas list, isn't it? What will I get? Well, you get what you get. The point is the supplication. The supplication is your power. It is your practice. It is your capability, is potent, because you can accomplish it. The Guru cannot supplicate him or herself for you, on your behalf. The Guru can reach and say, this far I can come. How far I don't have longer arms than that. And you have to come the rest of the way. And to think that, well, I haven't made it, therefore the Guru didn't stick their arm out long enough, this is not correct for you. Because you have to understand that the compassion of the Guru is like the sun. The sun never goes away or turns off. And you can't turn it off even if you try. The sun really moves around in its appointed course, but in fact it's the earth moving around the sun that makes it appear that it disappears. And of course we are like the earth. We turn away, we move around, we forget, and all of a sudden, oh, there's the sun again, and now we remember. But our power in this practice is the capability of reciting, like in the Guru Yoga, the Lama Ken No. I know many stories of Mandarava and Yeshit Sogyo would go out into the fields where no one could hear them but the Guru, and supplicate the Guru in ways that you would find probably embarrassing. They would wail and sing. My daughter would be proud because they would recite slam poetry. She's a slam poet. Very powerful stuff. So I think the Dakinis must have been into Dakini slam poetry. But they would be out in the fields and they would pull their hair. And why would they do that? Not because they were insane, but because they were cognizant and completely aware of the power of the Guru's blessing. And so mindful were they of the Guru's blessing, so understanding that it was their channels, winds and fluids, their very blood, their heartbeat. So understanding were they that the unbearable suffering to be not mindful or somehow seemingly separate from the Guru for even one instinct would bring terrible, unbearable suffering. And so that was their way. They would call out to the Guru, they would cry out to the Guru, they would bring their own blood forward until their mindfulness was so centered and they were so with the Guru that their suffering was eased, and that they had what they needed. And so that fight with our egos, that fight to see the Guru, thousands of years later, is still happening. And so it is in samsara. So it is. It's not going to be different until we make it different. And the supplication of the Guru is most potent in these times. Really, in these times when even the methods to play instruments, even the methods to sound like the original voices that gave us the original prayers and practices is lost. We're Americans. We don't sound like them anymore. They still sound like them, but there's less and less of them, meaning the Tibetans. And so even in this time when the sound is lost, when the ability to practice perfectly is lost, still we have the Guru. How is that? Well, because the Guru is in truth our sole refuge. In these dark times, so long as the Guru is in the world, we are not alone. We have refuge that we can turn to. No matter how deeply covered in our own shit we get, we have that refuge. The Guru is not judgmental. However, the Guru will perform wrathfully if that is the necessity. But more than that, if the merit is there. There have been times that I have seen the Guru perform wrathfully. I've seen my Guru perform wrathfully on me, on my butt. And I was at first shook. Of course you're shooken up, you're a person. But then you realize how fabulous, how powerful. And you feel that some terrible obstacle has been cut. And you know in your heart that that was for the benefit of sentient beings and for your own benefit as well. And so I've had that marvelous experience. In my case, and in many cases, it can take really removing yourself even a period of time to go by before you can realize. And of course, it's individual with each of our experience and, again, habitual tendency and the karmic predisposition of our mind stream. Gradually, over time, we realize something very powerful happened here. And it's up to me to find my way back. No matter how far away you get yourself, there's always back. There's always coming back. And the teacher is always there, the guru is always there to give you an opportunity to show you the way. That compassion will always be available to you. Whether you have to reach for it inside your own practice and develop that strength, good for you. Or whether you can go easily, if you have that merit, and say to the teacher, help me with my karma, I have many obstacles here, and the teacher may give you some small advice. Or even if you don't ask, the teacher may walk by you and say, do this, do that. And you should listen, because it's never arbitrary. It's not because we like having you guys busy. It's because there's a reason, an opportunity. In the old days, for instance, when serving a dakini, the rule of thumb was, I think it's true with lamas too, I would imagine so, but I know the old rule about serving the dakini, since the dakini is considered to be the activity aspect of the three precious jewels, and particularly if the dakini is one's guru, you would have it done by sundown. And there's something like, there was a rule like by sundown, or within 3 days, or within 1 week, or within 1 moon, depending on the heaviness of the task. Like if it was to bring a loaf of bread, well, you'd definitely have that there before sundown. You definitely want to do that. But if it's like building a gompa, well, we'll give you a few years for that. But of course, if that isn't done, then the few years are up. Or if it's sundown and there's no bread, then shame on us. We have lost a precious opportunity. And that's unfortunate. And we never know. Not even the Lama will know when it's time to change course, when it's time to let that opportunity go and come over here, start another one. Even the Lama doesn't always know. And why is that? Because I have to say, from what I know of myself and the Lamas that I have met, we are instinctive creatures. We don't plan your demise. We don't sit there and think, how can I torture them today? Maybe Gyaltsen Rinpoche does that. But he's fun. But in general, the Lama just knows, now it's time to go. No, don't make a big deal, just go. Just go here, start here, do this. And so it is that we are together again. It seems to me that supplicating the Guru must have worked. And I, for that, am very, very happy. I'd like to talk a little bit about how it is that we travel this road together. We have to think of the Lama and the disciple as two hands together. You know that old Zen thing, what is the sound of one hand clapping? No sound. So if you're there and there's no Lama, or the Lama's there, there's no you, nothing's happening. It's just emptiness, just like the nature of all phenomena. But we don't have the skill and the tools. So in order to make the sound of happiness, the sound of activity, the sound of Dharma, in this place, we need two hands clapping together. That's how we make this sound. The Lama and the disciple arise interdependently. We are one in our nature, and that is the purpose of our relationship. One looks at the mind of enlightenment and sees that that is the door to liberation, and ultimately sees that that is the nature of one's own mind, and ultimately sees that that is the door that exits samsara, and it is the same door. But that takes time, and let me use an interesting conversation we had on the way out here. We were talking a little bit about the military and the similarities between the military and the Dharma path. Oh, you're going to hate this, right? Because everybody thinks, oh, the military is all about guns and Iraq and all those bad things that happen. Well, actually, it's the generals or the presidents that make the military do what they do. The military's original purpose, of course, is to defend the people. And many fine people are turned out of the military. And why is that? Because in the military, you have to subjugate your ego. Well, not for the sake of the guru, for the sake of the military, for the sake of the whole. The Buddha teaches like that, too. When you go to see the military, recruiter, of course they're going to try to talk you into joining these days, but ordinarily, these days it's a hook, you know. But ordinarily, there would be a discussion in which your options would be laid out. You could go to school, you could be a medic, you could do this, you could do that, you could go and defend, you could go and there's many different options. You could be on a ship, you could fly a plane, you could do all kinds of different things. And every type of person can find something to do in the military, similar to the Dharma. Because in the Dharma, Lord Buddha taught that before you accept the Dharma as your path, it should be reasonable to you. You should understand cause and effect. Someone should lay it out for you. And you make intelligent, thoughtful choices. The military recruiter and the Dharma teacher, whether it's the Lama or some ordained person or some simple person that's giving even beginning teachings, should be able to lay out cause and effect for you. If you practice like this, this could be the result. If you practice like this. But ultimately, the recruiter will tell you, as the teacher will tell you, how far you go is up to you. You can stay private first class if you want to. You can go up and be a corporal. You can get to be a general. But it's according to how hard you work. And in the beginning, the work seems odd to us. There's a bit of culture shock. In the military, it's yes ma'am, yes sir. And you're saluting everybody and you don't get to think anymore. Not for a while anyway. At least you think you're not getting to think. But in fact, you're learning quite a bit. And although as Americans we think expounding our ideas is about thinking, most of our thinking is done with our mouths shut. So, don't know that yet, do we? Okay. So it is with the Dharma path. Once you choose your Dharma teacher, you really should examine, is this the teacher for me? Does this teacher speak my language? Do I get it? Does she tell me secrets? Does she teach me about the nature of my mind? Does he or she carry the proper prerequisites? Is their compassion great enough that they will not abandon me? These are the questions. Do they know enough Dharma, or can they get me to enough Dharma so that I can succeed and myself become the general? Can they take me to the next level? So these are the questions. And once you have decided those questions and you've thoughtfully thought them out, hopefully with your mouth closed, then it's time to shut up and practice. And at that time, Lord Buddha advises that's not the time to think. That's the time to contemplate. In the sense that you've already made your choice. This is it. You made your choice, you made your prayers, don't argue with it when it shows up. So here you are, your choices are here, you made your choices, your prayers have been answered. Well, hallelujah, now you get to contemplate. In the military, it's the same thing, you get to walk the walk. You get to talk the talk. And over time, you receive character training in the military. The military does develop self-reliance, character, common sense, discipline. So hard because in this permissive society, hardly any of us are raised with any kind of discipline. And so the military helps us like that. Dharma does the same thing. Of course, it's a different end goal, and so the path is different. Remember that the ground, the path, and the fruit are the same. So if the ground is the military ideal, the path will be different and the fruit will be different than if the ground is the mind of the Buddhas, which is our mind, our nature. The path then becomes the path of Dharma, and the result is enlightenment. And so that's where the analogy falls apart. But in fact, it doesn't fall apart because it stays true in terms of pattern. We are at the stage now where we have already made our requests. Our teachers have showed up. We are in the Army. Hopefully some of us have gotten through boot camp. And now we are in the character development part. It's time to listen. Time to contemplate the advice that one is given kindly. Time to remove the yes buts so that you won't be on your butt and you can move forward. It's time to develop that sense of character that says, I don't see the value, because you get this in military training as well as in Dharma training. I don't see the value of the instant gratification of something. Because now I know if I delay that gratification, I get so much more here. And so this little gratification becomes less interesting. I mean, what's the big deal? If you keep your eye on that one, boy, that one's pretty sweet. And that's the one you want. And yes, liberation is gratifying. Yes, realization is gratifying. Getting your stripes and stars is gratifying. You betcha. And when you've walked the path of Dharma, or the military path, when you get to that point, you say, I have done something. I am changed. I'm different. Because of the walk that I have walked, I can look back now and see the value of that. I can't always say I was enjoying it. I can't always say I was having fun. Can't always say I didn't want to kick somebody's butt at some time or another. But I've walked it, and I'm here. And there's that kind of training, that character training that we all get. Well, that's the simplest part of Dharma. That's what you get in the military, and that is the simplest part of Dharma. That's the ordinary part. In addition to all of that, of course, what we are studying is not from the military manual, but it's from the teachings of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. It's Guru Rinpoche's very own essence. And our teacher is nothing other than non-dual with that essence that is the Guru, is Guru Rinpoche, is the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And so the result is the ultimate blessing, something that is not about this lifetime, or not about a career of, say, 25 years, but it's something that lasts this lifetime, and then builds for the next lifetime, and then builds for the next lifetime. How else can you do that? You know of any courses you can take or wealth that you can build up that will benefit you in your next life? Of course not. You have no idea where you're going to be in your next life. I mean, you could set up a trust, but who would you give it to? So the only way that you can build up wealth and happiness and causes for happiness and progress is through Dharma. So, to my mind, having lived, what is it now? I think I'm 56. Having, yeah? Anybody know? I think so, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm 56. They know. They watch it another year. I've learned a bunch of things. One thing I've learned is that the earth, which appears so solid around us, is actually a liquid. Did you know that? It is. The earth constantly moves, it constantly reshapes, and even though we see it as a solid, in its nature, it acts like a very slow-moving liquid, just like panes of glass. You remember the old-fashioned glass that used to, over time, become thicker at the bottom? It's because glass is actually a liquid. I don't know about the newfangled stuff, but it's actually a liquid. And I've learned that actually this throne shouldn't even hold me up. It has so much space in it. In fact, I don't know what's doing this, except for just the wealth of conceptual proliferation that we call appearances. Otherwise, my butt should be down, because this wood, this glass, is all different than it appears. Lots of molecules with mostly space in them. And so I've learned to think that while this beautiful earth is pleasing and precious, it isn't the solid foundation I once thought it was as a child. And then the other big lesson is that I have pictures of myself when I was younger. That's really sad. Gee, how things change. You talk about things being liquid. Everything's gone down. Drip, drip, drip. So what to do about that? Even the very form that houses us, that houses our consciousness, we feel so secure in it because it's here today, and that's foolish because we don't know about tomorrow. And if we look at even 10 years ago, we look much different. Even 2 years ago. And the longer we live, the faster that liquid runs. And so there is no safety there. Over time, I have found that the true safety is in the three precious jewels and those objects of refuge. Because even though aging may occur, time may pass, even the world may end, the three precious jewels are beginningless and endless. The ground is the ground of all phenomena. It is the nature of all the Buddhas. It is our nature. And upon awakening, it is our full realization. It is the precious primordial wisdom nature. Unchangeable, unborn, and yet spontaneously accomplished. This nature is not to be built because it exists. It cannot be torn down. You cannot give birth to it because it already is, always has been. It is separate from time. All we can do is open up. To open up and know that nature is the way. And that is the purpose of the relationship with one's guru. It's different when one sees the guru once a year when we go to see His Holiness, for instance. That's an amazing thing. And it's sort of typical in many monasteries that the highest Lama is not always there. But when you get the highest blessings, you get the deep empowerments, you get the ripening of one's mind stream through the powerful teachings of the guru. You get that big hit, and you go home and you're strong for the year. but ideally. But what if it doesn't work that way? And I can tell that it doesn't. We need help along the way. We need our friend, our root guru, that is our friend, the one who brought us to the path, who seduced us onto the path, who attracted us to the path, however you want to put it. We need the constant companionship and the prayers of that guru, sustenance. And we need that guru as a meditational focus. Of course we always have His Holiness. But to walk the path every day with one's root guru is a powerful thing. And I invite each and every one of you to walk this path with me now in these years to come. Because I'm up for it. I'm ready. I want you to be ready. We weren't so ready before, but I think something's changing. Slowly, and it's not changed yet, but I think there's an opening. The path of Dharma is not church. To go to talk Dharma on Sunday, to go to hear Dharma on Wednesday evening, to have the social supper, and then to go to retreat once a year, that is the structure of church life. And in America, that's how it looks. But we must end that confusion in our life, because the path of Dharma is every day, every moment of every day. The opportunity to gain the path is there every moment. Conversely, the opportunity to lose the path is there every moment. And so, hopefully, with the guidance and support of one's teacher, and often the power of that relationship is such that we see the teacher's face and we are reminded, here I am being squirrel-headed again. And there's that peaceful face. Crazy me. It's a gentle reminder. And then we think about the teacher, and maybe that some blissful feeling or some happy feeling or something comes, and then we are reminded. And so it's a spiritual companionship, and you should think that we are holding hands. Because I am holding your hand. I am holding your hand. Whether you've looked down and noticed, it's here. And we use that support, motivation, reminder. We use the pleasing aspects of the relationship because it is a joy to be with one's teacher and to say hello, to see their face. And on the other hand, we also use the not so joyous aspects, because sometimes the teacher will just walk up to you for reasons you can't think of instantly and go, smack you upside the head a little bit. And at first you go, oh, that wasn't happy or joyful. But then you get it, because there's always a purpose, there's always a reason. And when you get it, you go, yes, yes, thank you. I was on the wrong channel. I thought I was watching the news, and I was on the Playboy channel. Or something like it. I forgot. Or worse yet, the TV was off, and I was in my own head. So, of course, it's like that. The teacher serves as a reminder and a constant companion, in the sense that if one receives ripening teachings, commentary teachings regularly, the teacher will watch one's progress. And a lot of times when we're with our root guru, we'll say, oh, that teaching was especially for me. And the guy next to you will think that too. And that's important. That goes to show that that is indeed one's root guru. There were stories that the Buddha would speak to a crowd of sentient beings, and they would hear him in whatever language they spoke. And so there was always this debate. Did the Buddha actually speak different languages in their ears, Or did they just magically have the capability to hear them because of the power of his teachings? I think it was the second. I think they spoke of that intimate and blessed connection between the disciple and the guru, where they have even an indication, a gesture, something. And if your mind is open, you get it. And there is no need for any discourse. It's teaching by indication. I've experienced that with His Holiness. How amazing His mind is. We're just with one move of His finger. And it's like the 5 celestial Buddhas have entered into one's mind stream. And what a blessing. What a blessing. But that's because, perhaps, in my case, maybe I have been with Him lifetime after lifetime. In fact, I know that He and I have been together many, many lifetimes. And so that habit is there. He can do anything He wants to me. He can spank me. He can love me. He can teach me. He can send me away. He can bring me close. He can do whatever He wants, and I will accept it, because I know that His compassion and His love for me are indisputable. And I know that my devotion for Him is unquestioned, since He is the guru of my accomplishment. And so that's the value of that relationship. Of course there's fear and trepidation when you see your guru for the first time and you start to get all squirrely. That's the little rats in your head running away. We hope when the teacher turns on the light, the little cockroaches start running away. So it's like that. You can expect that. I get butterflies in my stomach, I should say cockroaches, I guess, whenever I see His Holiness. His magnificence is stunning. And He is my teacher. Simply that. No other explanation is required. He is my teacher. He found me. He told me that I was a Buddhist. He reminded me. And so I can count on Him doing that every lifetime. Why would I betray such a relationship? Better I should cast out every other relationship in my life, or shoot myself in the head. Better I should do that than to cast out that relationship. And so that's the blessing of the student and disciple relation, of the student and teacher relationship. It is immeasurable, beyond measure. Now, how to do that in the here and now? It takes practice, and nobody's good at it at first. We make lots of mistakes in our guru devotion. The best thing about having a living master is that you can repair those mistakes. That's one of the best things about having a living master. It's not to say that karma can be erased as though it never existed. But on this path, one can purify karma. We have method for that. We have technology for that. And the additional blessing of being able to confess or express remorse before the countenance of one's root guru is phenomenal. I guess that's the one thing about Catholicism I really like. Confession is good for the soul. I know, we don't have them, souls. We believe in rebirth. We believe in rebirth, not reincarnation. Meaning that the causal intention continues life after life until we dissolve our crazy egos and open our eyes and realize the primordial nature that is our nature. We continue to arrive in samsara and to dive in with both feet and to thoroughly enjoy ourselves unless we're not, until we die, again and again and again. The relationship with the teacher, though, helps us to remain firm and solid. So in practicing the relationship with our teacher, the first thing that's necessary is profound mindfulness, contemplation. What is the meaning? How can I understand what this means in my life today? What does it mean that I have the opportunity to speak with, to hear teachings from, to receive blessings from a reincarnate sublime being? What does that mean? What does that say about the value of this precious human rebirth? Well, it says that we need to pay attention, because this is an unusual, precious human rebirth. If we think about how many beings there are in cyclic existence, humans alone, how many of them are accompanied by the benefit and friendship of their own spiritual master? Almost nobody. Almost nobody. And although I've done my best to include as many animals as possible, animals can't even learn Dharma. And so I try very hard to take care of them, but what chance do they really have? It's not a precious human rebirth for them. And then think about when you walk outside on the ground, even where you step, there's uncountable sentient beings. If you touch a leaf, if you brush your teeth, there are uncountable sentient beings that you interact with. How many of them know the blessing of having a spiritual master or traveling the path of Dharma? Therefore, of all beings, you all are most fortunate. What does that mean? You must study the meaning of that so that you can come to use this precious rebirth faithfully and well. And you want to get the big picture. It's one of the things that the Dharma path harps on, similarly to the military path. Let me harp back to that again. In the military path, you put your precious comforts aside because you're building something that's a bigger picture. And you are encouraged to get excited about that big picture. Like, for instance, if you are a Marine, you learn to honor the Marine family more than you honor your own self. And in Dharma, we have the same teaching. Well, in general, of course, we honor the three precious jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, because they are the objects of refuge. It's completely different there. But there is a big picture. The big picture is that all sentient beings are suffering. And that they are all the same. Their nature is the nature of the Buddha, but they are suffering in confusion, literally wandering in samsara. And so that being the case, we attain to a high goal. And what is that goal? Liberation. Thus, for the sake of sentient beings, in order to liberate them from their suffering, I will accomplish Dharma. Our training includes looking into the eyes of other suffering sentient beings. Check out the eyes of a dog that knows it's about to be put to death. Check out the eyes of a bird who knows it's about to be tortured again in captivity. Check out the eyes of a human that has no comfort or food or clothing or anything. Check out the eyes of a human being who may have all the comforts and be completely lost. Check out those who are mentally confused and suffering. And if you can look at them and say, "Pfft," then you shouldn't be coming here. But I don't think you're that kind of people, or you wouldn't be here. The big picture is that we look at them and we say, it's getting worse every day, and enough is enough. And I'm here to tell you now that the world is on the edge of a precipice. They could be signing all kinds of things in New York. But the world is on a precipice. And now is the time for good people who are like-minded to finally, at last, let go of self-cherishing and walk this path of Dharma to ease the suffering of sentient beings. Right now, the karma and activity of the world is weighed way in the balance of darkness. There's death everywhere, suffering everywhere, unbelievable suffering. As you know, bombs are being thrown down in the Mideast, that the killing that isn't being reported, torturing that isn't being reported, and then in places that aren't even thought about, like in Africa, where women are being tortured, people are being run out of their villages and their homes, their ancient homes, their tribal homes, day after day. This is the suffering that goes on in the world every day. And while the world is so weighed down with the suffering, we have to add something in this pile. If it's all we can do, then we can do that. And to add prayers, to take a hold of our minds and purge the war from our minds, to take a hold of our hearts and purge the bigotry from our hearts, to take a hold of our very beings and purge that ugliness, and walk the path of Dharma straight and tall and noble, and teach it to others. This is the way. And we must accomplish this now. I am back here because there is no more time. And I had to come if there was just one voice calling me. If one voice said to me, show me how to help, then I'm here. And together, that's going to be our job. We're going to continue our prayer efforts every day, 24-hour-a-day prayer. We're going to continue to practice and to accomplish Dharma. And we're going to make the sweet noise of bodhicitta, the sweet music of compassion, to drown out the horrible cries of suffering that occur today. And I'll tell you some secrets. I have some crazy ideas. I want to go build a stupa in the Mideast. I want to go build a stupa in Northern Ireland. I want to go build a stupa in Africa. And I want to drum with those women. And I want to tell them that you cannot take away from them their power. And I want you to come with me. Whether you come in your spirits or in your bodies, it doesn't matter. We'll do this together. I'm sick of the suffering, and I know you are too, and we can help. And I beg you, plead with you, come with me. Walk this path of Dharma. No more fooling around. We're getting too old, and the world is getting too sick. We have to stick together. And we have to be an army of one. An army of Dharma warriors who will never accept this suffering. And I'm asking you to practice the path of Dharma, as well as to walk the path of noble living, right thinking, right activity, right contemplation, right occupation, all of it, every step together, as an antidote to all this killing and all this horror. Will you help me?
Yes.
I thank you. And I want you to know that I'm not asking you to be perfect. Perfect is for somebody else. I don't know who's perfect for. But I'm asking you to be mindful. I'm asking you to center yourself in bodhicitta. And most of all, I'm asking you to be kind. Not only kind when it's easy to your own family, to your own friends, but kind when it's inconvenient. Kind when it's hard. Because every bit of the nectar of kindness, even though you can't see it directly going to somewhere else, and I know our minds want to measure everything out, matters. It matters. And we need to teach our young ones. We need to teach them not to be silent. We need to teach them to follow the path of Dharma, to follow the great bodhicitta, to give rise to the bodhicitta, and to vote. Because we let this happen. Part of being a Dharma practitioner is to be a responsible citizen as well. We are not only citizens of the great Dharma Dhatu, we are citizens of this world. And we have a responsibility to try our best to clean up some of this mess. It'll come to me. We'll do stuff. And I already have some ideas, and I'll lay them out for you when I can, but again, I'm an instinctive creature, and the thing I do best is sniff the wind. I'm always sniffing the wind for an opportunity, a chance. How can I jump in? Where can I help? And I want you to help me with that. We'll sniff the wind together. So, are you inspired? You want to help me? There's nothing else to do. What are you going to do? Hang out with people that are getting killed? No. You're going to help them. Okay. Then that's it. That's all I need from you today. And I want to tell you that when I first came here, it was pretty confusing. I think you forgot. My bed wasn't made. There were no curtains up. The sewer had backed up into the dishwasher. And so there was sewage in my dishwasher. It was pretty heinous. And at first I thought, what should I do? Where should I go? There's no merit. What should I do? I thought I should go to New York. I'll continue. But no, I just prayed to His Holiness, and I just said, help me, help me. Let me see the way here. And I said, all right, I get it. It's okay. I think that maybe I went away for a while, and you guys were like puppies, kind of walked around, dug up, buried your bones for safety, forgot where you buried them, walked around, pissed on everything. You just forgot. Shit smells good sometimes. You forget. And you forget, well, the Lama's good, but the Lama's just like everybody else besides I have His Holiness and all that crap we do. Stupid stuff. And maybe she didn't mean it. Maybe she wasn't really coming. Maybe she's a ghost. Maybe she doesn't exist. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I accept. I accept everything. I accept no curtains. I accept the bed wasn't made. I accept everything. You know why? Because it was a great opportunity. In the end, it made me pray mightily to His Holiness for guidance. And I'll tell you what, my Anis stepped up to the plate. I'll tell you what, they're not, well, only one of them's here now, but these gals stepped up to the plate and they made it nice, toot sweet. And the house is functional, everything's good. I love you guys. You did a great job. People that traveled with me, amazing, amazing. An angel who's still doing that old-time religion. When she saw what it was, she came over. This is a crazy story. You're going to love this. She came into my laundry room, which looked pretty bad at the time, and she said, and she pulled off her belt, which got my attention right away because my stepfather used to do that. And she just bent over and she said, "Beat me." I said, "What?" And she said, "Somebody's got to take a beating for this. Let me take it for them. Let me create them. Take it out on me so they won't lose merit." And I said, "No, I can't do that, baby. You didn't deserve this." And she said, "That's not the point." Now, in the old days, that would have been appreciated. That would have been a good thing. She could have performed a miracle. That kind of faith. But these days, we don't have that kind of merit. So I hugged her. I held on to her till she quit crying. And I said, "You are my angel. Just help me. That's all I want. Just help me." And she did. That's a crazy story, isn't it? But that's the kind of people that traveled with me. That kind of devotion is magic. In the old days, Dakini would have taken off her mala, whoop! And that would have worked. Things would have changed like that. You heard many stories about that, haven't you? Many stories when the Lama got wrathful, and it was at the student's behest, you know. I mean, actually, His Holiness has a history of that where people would go to him that were sick and annoy him. Till finally he would whip out his mala and start taking after him. "Get out of here!" And the people would get better. See, this is old-time religion. This is back in Tibet. We don't do like this here. And there are stories of the first Ahkon Lhamo. Many stories, in fact, where she would be up in her cave, and they used to call it the Red Valley because there were red robes going up to her cave, just lines and lines and lines of people who would be going up to her cave to receive a blessing. And she would either ignore them or receive them one by one. And if they came and she knew that there was, and they came and they asked for help, healing, or they were sick, or some obstacles, and she knew she couldn't help them, that their karma had run out and they were dying or something was going on, she would invite them in and offer them tea and bless them and be kind to them. And if she knew that she could help the person, that there was something there that she could get a hold of and really help that person, she'd whip out that old malak and start screeching at them and beat them, just beat them until they left, and take their offerings. They would offer turquoise and coral and gold and silver, throw it off the mountain and think, "This is shit to me." She was Italian, I think. I don't think so. I don't think so. She would say, "This is meaningless to me. This is shit to me. I don't want nothing from you." And then the person would go home and they would be all better. So what Angel did was marvelous and appropriate and beautiful, and it's a treasure in my heart that I will never forget. But nowadays we can't do that kind of stuff because we got to worry about lawsuits and so forth. And the old-time religion is old-time. Now we got to walk together, we got to talk together, we got to trust one another, we got to be adults, responsible together. Change the world. Screw the small picture. Let's change the world. Okay? All right. Thank you.